वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहैः। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। So, as an individual, when you come as a human being, all these different options are given. How you choose to live your life not only has repercussions on how you live this life and how your life flows, but it also can take you to what different lokas hereafter, and it can give you highly pleasurable experiences until those particular karmas are exhausted, and then you change again. Just as you come to this earth, and once the karmas which brought you to this earth are exhausted, you have to leave this body and you have to leave this mind and you have to go. These other lokas also, you assume a certain body based on your karma with its specific senses, and you are given a different kind of an environment which will produce different degrees of pleasures. And when those karmas which brought you to these lokas get exhausted, you leave those lokas and you come back. So this travel of an individual is what we call life in samsara. That means as an individual, you are given the opportunity to perform actions and reap the results of the actions here and hereafter. And you keep traveling. And as Faye said, it's like a snake and ladder. You sometimes, a lot of punya, but if you don't have right attitudes, down again, up and down again. One thing that the vision of Vedanta says is, once you come to this knowledge, and you begin to understand the all-pervading presence of Ishvara, and begin to align your life in different degrees, as I told you, that can only be up. You don't fall, because if you live with a partial vision of things, then you can fall. That is one promise that is given by Lord Krishna to Arjuna. When Bhagavad Gita was given, and Arjuna, in middle of this teaching, he asked him a question. He says, what if you're giving me this amazing knowledge, and if I don't understand totality of this knowledge, and if I have to leave this body, what will happen to me? And Lord Krishna says, when you come to this knowledge, you cannot go back again. That you will be prapya punya krutam lokam. If you haven't finished your journey, then you will get all these lokas, you will come back and you will be reconnected to this knowledge. As a human being, where you are given the buddhi to understand, you will be reconnected to this knowledge. And then, until the totality is understood, then you will only go up. So what is the final up? Within the samsara, the final up is what? Surya Marga and Brahmaloka. But that is within samsara. But according to the Shastra, human body is not just meant for you to travel to another place and have a good time. It is meant for moksha. What is this moksha? Moksha is getting out of the cycle of what? Traveling, birth and death. Taking life here, experiencing something, taking life somewhere else, experiencing something. It is that coming of the end of this journey is moksha. So what is this moksha then? This moksha involves a very important other question. What is that question? I have now understood that all that is here is Ishvara. I need to now understand also what is my relationship with this Ishvara. I have this I am. What is this relationship with Ishvara? If I'm aligned enough, Ishvara itself blesses me with another knowledge. And what is that knowledge? You and I are one. That is a blessing of Ishvara. What? What are you saying? How can you show me your this, what? The whole intelligence which makes every object what it is, every body what it is, every mind what it is, every cause you keep in mind and then create the universe. And then you are telling me you and me are the same? How is that possible? So, the last part of learning is, the last class here is a culmination of everything that I have taught you. It takes you to yet another paradigm. Now, in this whole thing, the whole demonstration that was shown to you, everything is Ishvara. Where are you? So wonderful. So that means in this whole, the way I demonstrated, you are what? Just one of the manifestation of what? Ishvara. And Ishvara is what? All manifestations combined. So that means up to now, what you understand, if you have really understood what has been said, what you understand is what? You are what? Part of Ishvara. Right? Now, Ishvara doesn't end there. It says, you and me are exactly the same. What? Now I understood I'm part of Ishvara. Now Ishvara is going one level above and says, you and I are the same. Now, that requires huge inquiry again. So that means, what you thought you were, tell me, you thought you were this individual, right? This individual with this body, with this physical body, with this subtle body, with this causal body, which gives rise to this individuality, which makes you experience the world in a certain way, gives you an opportunity to do karma and get good result. Now, Ishvara says this, you need to re-look at your identity. Who is this I am? That will come back to Kanish's question the first day. When you say, I am, there is this thing, right? I am. Now you need to understand, what is this I am? You think up to now that I am the physical body. What is the physical body? Made up of 5 elements. Which are the 5 elements? Space, air, water, earth and fire. Are you fire?
Yes.
No. If I ask you, who am I? Hey, you are not fire. Please understand, this is not what Vedanta is talking about. There is this I in you, which is what able to objectify fire. Your body is fire, true. I am fire, not true. If you start thinking, wherever you go, you will burn things. If you are fire. Body is what? 5 elements put together. One of those elements is what? Fire. But I am not fire. Are you water? No. Are you space? No. Are you air? No. Are you earth? No. Body is. But I am, no. It's very clear. If anybody asks you, are you water sensitive? You need to think for too long to say no? So that means if you're not any of these 5 elements, then you cannot be also what? Coming together of these 5 elements. So that means, this is a big thing. So that means that the body is a function of 5 elements coming together. The mistake we make is, I put my I am in the body. That's a mistake. So that means there is another identity that I am has, not the body. So that means if I begin to inquire into what is I am, then I discover I'm not what? The body. Because body is nothing but combination of 5 elements. I know very well I'm not any of the 5 elements. Then I also cannot be what? Combination of 5 elements. Logic. So that means I have to rephrase and you have to say, I have been given the body to do my life journey, but I am not the body. Do you see the distinction? You are given a car to go to a destination. Do you become the car? No. The body is a vehicle for you to complete your life journey. This body, as we said, it's going to go and you are still going to survive, so you are not the physical body. Now, you need to ask, then, am I the subtle body?
No.
No. Why not?
See, the subtle body is made up of
Okay. Now, let's see that one of the major component of the subtle body is what? The mind. Right? Mind is one of the major components. And in that we saw that there are 4 functions. What are the 4 functions? Emotions, then cognitive capacity, memory, and your eye sense, ahankara. Now, can I say, generally when we live life, our whole identity comes from what? Mostly the condition of the body and also the condition of the mind. So that means when a situation arises and there is a passing thought which is, let's say, which makes me happy, then what do I say? I am happy. Another situation can come 10 minutes later and you're upset. Then what? I am upset. So that means your I sense is totally identified with what? The passing thoughts that come and go. Vedanta says, hey, that also is a mistake. Why? It is a mistake because if you really became that thought, then that thought will stick to you forever because you are there or not. Yes. If every thought that passes through your mind becomes you, you should be right now able to tell me every thought that you have thought of since you are born. If it has become I. Now if I ask you, repeat to me all the thoughts that you have thought of from the time of the birth. Not possible. Then you can say, oh, Okay, forget it. Then just last 1 year, list all the thoughts. Not possible. Okay, yesterday. Not possible. Just from this morning. Not possible. That shows something very, very important with reference to the relationship that you have with the mind. The mind, by its nature, is just passing thoughts. The mistake that we make is, like that is exactly Hanish was saying, even your eye sense keeps changing. It's constantly in flux. So that means this, you are there. The thought comes and thought goes. And while the thought is there, it doesn't get stuck to you. Because if it got stuck to you, what will happen? You right now will be carrying all the thoughts that you have thought of. Adi Shankaracharya gives a very interesting example in Taittiriya Upanishad. He says, suppose I ask you to think of an elephant. Now, what will you do? You will think of an elephant. Then, after 2 minutes, I'll ask you to think of a tree. You will think of a tree. Now, before you thought of an elephant, were you there or not? Yes. While you thought of an elephant, are you there or not? Yes. After the elephant thought goes, are you there or not? Yes. And that thought, which is elephant, which stayed for fraction of a second, did it get stuck to you? No. Because if it got stuck to you, when you saw the tree, not only you will see the tree, you will also see what? Elephant. Logic. Then the third thing I tell you, hey, now think of a horse, then what will happen? You will think of, if it all got stuck to you, you will think of a elephant, you superimposed on that tree, and plus horse. The fact that right now none of the thoughts that you have thought of are sticking to you means that they never got stuck to you. But we feel as though we define ourselves as what? The mind. We make a mistake.
Equally, they say when you have no thought, does it mean that you exist?
Exactly. Wonderful. So that means even between the two thoughts, when there is silence, are you there or not?
Yes.
Yes. And when the silence goes away, are you there or not? Thought yes. So please understand, that's a good point, Saloni. We are not trying to accomplish what some perennial silence. Because any silence will get replaced by thought, and thought will get replaced by silence. Who you are is independent of both silence and thought. In your presence, every thought comes and goes, and also silence is replaced by thoughts. So that means this I am is also neither the body nor the mind. Then is what is remaining other than sthula and sukshma body? Karana sharira. So that means, let us examine, am I all the karmas? No. Why? Why am I not all the karmas? Because if I was karma, when one karma comes, I will be born. When the karma goes, I am gone. What happens is, just like thoughts come and go and I remain, karmas in one lifetime, how many different karmas I exhaust? So many. Do I remain or not? Do I remain or not?
Yes.
Yes. So that means karmas constantly, yesterday's karma is exhausted. The very fact that I survive the exhaustion of karma means what? I am independent of karma.
So yesterday's bad actions go in a...
As long as you are living, if you haven't understood your true nature, you are subject to all of this. Here we are trying what? Moksha. So that means within, you can't pretend you are not subject to all of this. What we are trying to do here is an inquiry and understanding of another paradigm which will free us from this. Until you understand it, you are subject to this. If you understand, if your understanding goes to another level, then you are free from this. You understand that? You can't pretend, oh, I'm not subject to it. That is not the point. Until you understand the bigger reality about who you are subject to this karma and karma phala. This is called samsara. It will keep on going till you understand this bigger reality.
Wrong identity.
Wrong identity. Superb. So that means you are actually not even the causal body. Why are you not? Just simple. If you were a karma, when karma comes, you will come into being. And when karma goes, you will go. Is that your experience? You remain and karmas come and go. That means that you are independent of all the karma. Wow, the Upanishads are working at some other level altogether. So that means then who am I then? All these, I thought all my life and lifetimes and in the whole these cycles and cycles and cycles of birth and death, I only thought I was this individual. Individuality means physical body, subtle body and causal body. And now Upanishads are telling me that's not really your true identity. Then who am I? Oh, no, Saloni, please, no. Who you are is what we call Chit Swarupa. What is this Chit Swarupa? Look at this. There is something in you which is able to see the changing conditions of your body. There is something in you which is able to see the changing conditions of your mind. There is something in you which is able to see coming and going of what all the karmas. That presence which enables you to see everything is called Chit. Chit in English is called what? Awareness or consciousness. Chit Swarupa. I don't know if many of you have heard of, if you have heard little bit of philosophy, then what you have heard. Atma is what? Satchit Ananda. Satchit, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma.
We experienced just now the awareness. The electricity went off.
So that means this awareness, which is what? Enabling you to see what? Changing conditions of the body, changing conditions of the mind. And as Anish was saying, your eye sense is also constantly changing, is in a constant flux. But there is one entity which enables for you to what? Know all the changing conditions of even your eye sense. One day, morning I'm feeling I'm good, in the evening I feel I'm no good. So that is also, there is one awareness which never takes on what? The attributes of what comes and what goes. It is Chit Swarupa. Now, suppose you understand I'm Chit Swarupa. And suppose I understand I'm Chit Swarupa. And suppose Faye understands she is Chit Swarupa. And Viresh understands he is Chit Swarupa, which is independent of what? Body, mind, sense, complex. Then the next question is, how many Chit are there in this universe? One. How?
It's all connected.
There is only one Chit Swarupa. This is what the Vedas say,
All intelligence.
that awareness or that consciousness is what? Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. This awareness has no, Anantam means what? No boundaries. It has no boundaries. How can I use my logic to understand that what Vedanta says is non-contradictable? Suppose I don't agree with Vedas and I want to say, no, there are two awarenesses. Then what makes two? Tell me. What makes two is, you have to tell me that this awareness has this characteristic and that awareness has what? That characteristic. One is a blue awareness, other one is green awareness. That's why there are two different things. There are two bodies because the body has different characteristics. Minds, there are many. Each mind has different characteristics. The causal bodies are all different because they all have different karmas. But the awareness, because of which all these becomes present, can it have any characteristic? As we just saw, it does not take in the characteristic of any of the three. That means that itself is only just pure awareness. If I want to make a statement, there are two awareness, I have to give what? Distinguishing characteristics to those awarenesses. One is green, one is blue, one is big, one is small. These are all characteristics of what? Body, mind and karma. So that means there is this one thing which has no characteristics. It is in whose presence everything else takes place. And because of whose presence you come to know the coming and going of everything. Itself as its attribute-less awareness. Anything which is attribute-less is what, you can't have division between attribute-less things. Because two is only, you count two because two things have what? Different attributes. Logic. This pen is different from this pen because there are different attributes. What are the different attributes? This writes blue and this writes what? Red. This pen is different from this bottle because there are different attributes. This can do the job of writing, this can give what? The job of holding water. Right? So that means two implies what? Different attributes. There is one thing in this universe which is awareness, which has no attributes.
We can call as a witness.
So that means there is one awareness because of whose presence we are able to see the coming and going of things. And that awareness has no limits. It has no boundaries. How can I understand that? There is one simple example that is given to demonstrate, because it's not easy to understand. So therefore, we take the closest example that we have is that of space. The closest example is, this seems like what? Cup space. This seems like bottle space. This seems like room space. This seems like internal space, which is inside my body, which is separating my organs. How many spaces are there? One. Please don't give your commentaries, because I need to explain. Each of it seems like that there are many different spaces, but what is the reality? There is only one space. Now, if there is only one space, why do we say there is a cup space, there is a bottle space, which is the inside space, a room space? Why do we give these names? It seems to be confined to what? In your visual thing, it seems to be what? Confined to cup. But what is the reality? The cup exists in space, and the cup does not divide space. That is the reality. So that means there is one undivided space in which every object exists, but visually it seems as though the space is what? Confined to different objects. Like awareness, which is everywhere, but it seems to be confined what? Within what? One given body. Your body, your body. So it seems to us as though we are all separate from each other. So therefore, this Chit is Ananta. What you also need to understand about the nature of the space, neither the cup encloses the space, nor if suppose this cup has water, the other cup has Coke, the third cup has wine, does it do anything to the space? No. So that means neither our physical body is giving attributes to awareness, nor what is inside our physical body, which is what? The mind, is also touching what? The consciousness. Just as the space is neither divided by the physical cup, nor is touched by what? The content which is inside the cup, the water, Coke, wine. The space does not take on what? The attributes of space doesn't get polluted. Please understand. Air gets polluted, space doesn't get polluted. Space is untouched. Pervading everything, it remains untouched by everything. This is your true identity according to the Upanishad. You are not this little individual who is going through what? Performing actions and reaping results and going to different lokas. As long as you don't undo this identity, you are subject to this. You are in samsara. What is moksha? And in samsara, what is the highest possibility? Brahmaloka. Brahmaloka is the highest possibility. Means going and experiencing different, with different bodies, going and experiencing different places. This journey will continue till you inquire into $1 billion question, as Viresh would say it, and that is, am I this individual? What is my real identity? And Upanishads will tell you, you are not Jiva, this little individual. You are what? Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. You are this awareness, which has no boundaries, which never takes on any attribute of the physical body, never takes on any attribute of the mind, never takes on the attribute of any karma that anybody has performed. It is independent, always free, always unaffected. Then why do I live with this identity? This is the work of ignorance. Just as we miss the all-pervading presence of Ishvara, we also miss our true identity when we live. That's why we lived with such a distorted vision of things. And when we live with this distorted vision, we just get nowhere. We think we are doing many things, but actually it is nothing. So that means you are this, the Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. What is this? Now, suppose when the cup gets broken, does the space go away? No. Suppose I drink the water that was in the cup. Cup has become empty. Does space go away?
No.
Space is always full. Full, unaffected. That is what you are searching for. Fullness which never goes away. The first day I asked you this question, what are you looking for in life? What was your answer, Senthil? Happiness. What is this experience of happiness? It's an expression of fullness. The expression of fullness is called happiness. And what Upanishad say is, you are already fullness. And that fullness which is, as face it, it's constant. It doesn't come and go. Just as the space, whether the cup is broken or the water which is poured out, it doesn't lose its fullness. Things keep happening. The fullness, which is awareness, is never getting affected, never getting shaken. It is just what it is. That is your true nature.
But you do feel sad when someone...
So that is the mind. We are not, see, the thing is, if you ask this question, that means your eye still remains in what? The thought, passing thought. The passing thought will be what? This, exactly. What I'm trying to say, please see this. If you, otherwise what will happen? You will never get what I'm saying. We are not talking about having a constancy in mind. Mind's nature is to what? Change.
We are getting stuck to the thought.
We are getting stuck in a wrong self-identity. What you have to see is, the thoughts will, you can't hold on to only one type of thought. It's not possible.
Otherwise we'll be set forever.
Otherwise, exactly, you will be unable to transact with the world. If you get stuck with one thought, suppose right now I'm thinking of an elephant. If I get stuck with that thought, I'll not be able to move. We are not talking about keeping one thought constant, which is happiness. Please understand this. We are not talking about that. The whole pain that I took to say, the body is changing. the mind is changing. It has to change. It can't be kept constant. The karmas also keep changing, and karmas will bring you what? Different situations. It has to keep changing. You're not trying to keep that constant. What you're discovering, you are this awareness, because of which what the changing things you are able to see, and that never gets affected by what? The changing body, changing thoughts, and changing karma that you experience.
It's like in a plane. The plane is moving, but inside the plane you don't think it's moving. The outside it's in a street.
Exactly. So
Something
that
is
means
constant.
one is not changing. The other things are changing. That non-changing is you. The mistake we make is we take ourselves as changing. Then if we don't understand, then what happens? That changing thing, we want to make it non-changing. You will never get there. I'm feeling happy, I'm feeling sad, therefore there is no constancy. That is not the point. Mind will change. There is one thing which never changes, and that is what? Awareness. And that is what you are. That is your true nature. Nothing in this world can what? Shake it or touch it. Your nature is fullness. When you shift your eye to this awareness, which is already full, you don't have to do anything to make it full. It already has no boundaries. It already is not touched by anything. All you need to do is what? Lift your unveil it. Unveil that reality. So that means now there is yet another thing that you need to resolve. Wow. Now I understand that I am this Satchit Ananda Atma, which is what? Which is not getting displaced when objects come and go. It never takes on the characteristics of objects which come and go. It has no boundaries. It is limitless. Then, what is its relationship with what? Sarvajnaha Sarvashaktiman Ishvara. Another question. You need to reconcile the whole teaching, right? You can't just leave the parts all hanging in the air. That is the teaching. That's why you can't say, oh, last classes is just nothing, revision. It shows the end. It puts together every part that I have developed and puts it all together. Neither you can say first sessions are not important, because the first sessions you build and you build and you build till what?
The whole lesson.
Until the whole is revealed. So that means the final question is, what is the relationship with this what? Conscious Sat Chit Ananda Atma, which is what? The existence which doesn't come and go, the objects come and go, the existence which remains, which is of the nature of consciousness, and which is what? Limitless. That is your true identity. Not this little body, mind and sense complex. What is that entity, Atma, that Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma's relationship with Ishvara? What is Ishvara? Sarvajnaha Sarvashaktiman Ishvara. The all knowledge and all power.
vagueness?
So that means the relationship is the following. And this is Ishvara's last blessing to you. Last blessing. Ishvara says that this all knowledge and all power is it's an endowment of one entity. Just as little knowledge and little power is an endowment of one entity, the all knowledge and all power is an endowment of which entity? The same Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. So that means in order for all knowledge and all power to exist, what is one thing that is required for any knowledge and power to exist? Consciousness. So that means that my true nature is also the same what? Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. Then what is the difference? The difference is what we call the same Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma, which is awareness, which has no limitations. It has the capacity to what? Project the universe. With reference to this capacity to project the universe, it gets a name. And what is that name? Ishvara. All knowledge and all power with which it manifests the universe. Within this manifestation of universe, there are so many different forms. And those forms don't know this reality. So they live as though they are what? Small entities. They are called what? Jiva. So one awareness simultaneously appears as two. On one hand as what? The Ishvara, and on the other hand as Jiva. But when you inquire into the truth of both, they both resolve in one. To make it more understandable, there is only one thing, which is water, analogy, which simultaneously appears as what? The ocean, and also as wave. The forms are different. Wave is very small and ocean is what? Very big. But both of their real identity is what? Water. Water gets two names. What are the two names? Wave and ocean. What is the difference between? Can you say, this is why you can't just, don't give some other answers because it will confuse. And if you are understanding all wrongly, it's a big confusion. You can't say wave is ocean. Can you say wave is ocean? Can you?
No.
No, because there is a difference between wave and ocean. But there is a point of resolution. What is that point of resolution? The water. Why? Because if I look into the truth of the wave, it is nothing but water. And if I look into the truth of the mighty ocean, all that is here is, if from the ocean I take out water, what will remain as the entity ocean? Nothing. So that means there is only one thing in this universe. What is that? Satyam, Jnanam Anantam Brahma. On one hand, it appears as Ishvara. On the other hand, it appears as Jiva, the individual who goes through life. And the culmination of this teaching is that both are what? Just manifestation, different manifestation of one reality. So that means, let's come back to this wave example and see how the teaching of Vedanta that contributes to the evolution of the wave. The wave. The wave started out thinking, I'm this little wave, I'm going to die one day, the other wave is so much more beautiful, I'm useless. Or false sense of inflation, I'm so beautiful. All these complexes. Thinking I'm unconnected to everything else, and I'm constantly comparing myself and struggling with self-identity.
Using the wave as a metaphor.
Metaphor, exactly. Now this, of course, they are using it as metaphor. Now, this wave is made to understand, A, there is this ocean, and each of the wave is what? Part of the ocean. And we are all organized in a way that there is a interaction. So that means, what will it do to the wave? That sense of isolation will go away, and what? The connections, wonderful, sense of belonging will come. From isolation to connection. From dissatisfaction to what? Certain gratitude. And finally, from consumer feeling small and consuming to being a contributor. In that relationship of wave and ocean, the wave becomes healthy. The wave becomes big. The wave becomes noble. Now, the ocean tells wave one further. When the wave is ready and noble and really evolved, the wave blesses the ocean blesses the wave with one more level of reality. That, hey, right now I taught you that you are part of me. Till now. Now I'm going to teach you another level, and that is what? Both you and me are one. Because the mighty ocean is nothing but water. The little wave is also nothing but water. Water has no intrinsic quality. The water has neither become the ocean nor become the wave. It is free from being both, while appearing as both. The water remains only H2O. The struggling individual going through life for happiness, for fulfillment, grabbing this, grabbing that, when you don't get it, dissatisfied, is struggling. Somewhere along, somebody makes it possible for that little struggling individual to listen to Vedanta. That little individual begins to see the all-pervading presence of Ishvara. In that all-pervading presence of Ishvara, the person's sense of dharma comes into being. The emotions and resentment and all begin to disappear. The sense of gratitude and contributions increase. You become a healthy individual. Your connection to Ishvara becomes so real and so intimate. Your life begins to flow. You become an instrument to what? In the design, which there you begin to do what needs to be done. When you are ready, that same Ishvara will tell you, hey, now you're ready for another level of identity. You and me are the same. This you that you think you are, which is what? Body, mind, sense, complex. That is not what you are. You are what? Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. And this big entity who I am, Ishvara, all knowledge and all power. The knowledge and power rests on what? An entity. And my true nature is also what? Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. At this level, we are one. We are not just part of me. We are one. This is the teaching. This is moksha. When you understand that ultimately I am this awareness which has never performed any action, which is never affected by any action, then the whole cycle comes to an end. That is called moksha. That is the end of journey. And this end of journey is a possibility in a human life. But in order to start the journey, you need blessings of Ishvara. In order to go on with the journey, you need blessings of Ishvara. And in order to complete the journey, you need blessings of Ishvara. You need blessings of Ishvara all the way. So you make your own effort and you pray. This is the goal of life. This is what the end of the 5th question. Let's look at the 6th question. So that means your Om Upasana, how far it can lead. Either it can give you lokas or it can give you what? Moksha. Ishvara can further bless you with this final knowledge. Understood? Yeah. 6th, last question. Athaha enam sukesha bharadvajaha prapacha bhagavan hiranyanabaha kausalyaha rajaputraha mamupetya etam prashnam apruchata shodashakalam bharadvaja purusham vetha tam aham kumaram ambu na aham imam veda yadi aham vadishe katham te na vakshyami iti samulaha va eshaha parishusyati yaha anrutam vadati tasman arha anrutam vaktum satushnim ratham arohya pravam raja tam tvam pruchhami ka asau purushaha iti. Beautiful. What it says is so beautiful. Suppose I taught you this whole of the knowledge. There is nothing remaining in this knowledge. I didn't keep any part with me which I did not expose. Now, all of you were listening to it. Did you get whole of it? You may think you got hold of it. This is why when you give answers, sometimes, oh my God, please stop, listen. Because there is such a need for everybody to show that I know, but actually you need to listen. You need to listen carefully. Because there, so much mix-ups are there in mind, all wrong answers come out. Every time you have to listen with what, because this is just like working out the whole what? This is a solution to the whole puzzle and riddle of life. Don't pretend that you know. It requires alertness. It requires your mind has to align to this amazing teaching which needs to be alert. And see, follow every step properly. To do this, for this magic to happen. So that means one thing is, this last thing is that that there is a student who listens and somebody asks the student to reproduce this knowledge. Say, oh, tell me what you learned. And the student says what? I'm still learning. Then what? If I knew the totality, then what? I can teach you. Till I know the whole, I am unable to communicate. Why am I not able to communicate? Because you go wrong in one step. What happens? You have the whole mistake is made. You have to understand that. Because it is really working out the almost every in each part I'm making you understand, and each part is very intricately connected to the other parts. And all the parts are put together to give you what? The final vision. If you misunderstand one little part and then you put it together, what will it become? Our teacher used to laugh and say, Vedanta becomes Devanta. So that means here the teacher has to, Vedanta is an amazing knowledge, but you need a competent teacher. If the teacher starts telling their own story, there can be such a confusion, right? So that's why this Rashna was visiting our ashram, and she says, in Rishikesh, and she says, one person was walking around, I'm Ishvara, I'm Ishvara, I'm Ishvara. So we don't want that kind of superficial knowledge. Wave is different from ocean. Please understand. It's like when you solve the equation, if anybody has mathematical mind, I will give you an example. If you're trying to solve the equation, you have to find the right point of resolution. If you find the wrong point of resolution, your buddhi will go fat. What does it mean? Suppose I tell you, 3 plus 2 is equal to 1000 minus 995. Yeah, banker. Agree or not? Yeah, right. He's cautious. Like, yes, you have to agree. But suppose, right, because even a banker who's constantly dealing with numbers, he has to think. 3 plus 2 is 1000 minus 992. Why? Because the two sides look very different. They do look different. Same thing. Jiva, the individual, and Ishvara do look very different. And they are different. But there is a point of resolution. What is the point of resolution in this equation? 3 plus 2 is equal to 1000 minus 995. Where is the point where there is equality? Where? 5. You solve left side of equation, you come to 5. You solve the right side of equation, you come to 5. At 5, there is equation. Suppose you solve it at a wrong point. You say, oh, that means 3 is equal to 1000, plus is equal to minus, 2 is equal to 995. What will happen? More confusion than what you started with. You understand that? Solving of this equation requires, that is why the teacher does not teach till you have certain amount of readiness. It's just too big an equation to solve. And it requires incredible amount of alertness to understand each part properly and to put each part together to understand what the whole. And in that, there cannot be one deviation. The one deviation means it becomes, you begin to believe 3 is equal to 1000. So that's why this Brahman, Ishvara, Jiva, all that has to be understood properly. You're not Ishvara. There's a different Upadhi. Wave is not ocean. If you don't see it, there is a problem. But there is a point where they resolve. What is that point? Water.
Or can one say that the goal is for you to reach Ishvara?
In fact, yes. To understand that there is no essential difference between you and Ishvara. That's why the teaching is from Ishvara. The Upanishads are from Ishvara. Ishvara using this text shows you, hey, you're struggling in this life. Now I'm going to show you all that is here is one. And it lifts the little you up. But before you get to the final equation, you have to what? Incorporate the presence of Ishvara and align your life. You can't pretend that I am one with Ishvara. It's not a matter of pretension. You have to help yourself and you have to make the necessary changes. Otherwise, this equation will remain a secret. Even if the teacher is as clear as daylight, your buddhi will not allow for it to be complete. This vision, you can't grasp the totality of the vision. And this is what the student is saying. I have heard it, but I haven't totally yet understood it. So that's why I'm not in a position to what? Tell you. But if I knew it, then I would tell it. So that means along with receiving this knowledge, there is a responsibility. The responsibility is that, that sometimes this, like this person in Rishikesh who says, I'm Ishvara, don't get into that. Right? They understand each part and do what needs to be done to get there. That is moksha. With this, the teaching ends. Yeah, so that means he said, if I knew it, then I will say it. If I didn't know it, then what he says here, it says the teaching has to be from what? A competent teacher. So this is the end of the session, and this is where it all culminates. That is the goal of a human life. And yeah, go ahead. Questions? Yes. I'll just, Surya wants to close it, so I'll do a prayer and then you can ask a question. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.